You're listening to the Fan Club Podcast, where two polar opposites experience each other's fandoms for the very first time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fan Club Podcast. My name is Sarah.
This is Matthew.
And this is episode 31 and episode 2 of Falcon Week.
Yes.
So yeah, this is episode 2 of Falcon Week. We are covering episodes 3 and 4 today.
Yeah.
And 5 and 6 will be on Friday.
And then we'll be doing Loki after that.
Yeah, and we'll be doing Loki next week.
Yes.
So
episode 3 is called the Power Brokers. So we start off
with a GRC ad.
Yes.
Which is what is it called? The
Global I don't remember on top of
it's not rehabilitation.
Relocation? Global Relocation.
Global Repatriation Council.
Which makes sense.
I guess it's because it's like making, I don't know, remaking the Patriots?
No, it's so the GRC are the people that are rebuilding the borders, are reinforcing the borders.
Yeah. Well, no, it's also it's dealing with the people who came back from the blip. That's also what they're doing.
But no, that's the thing. Kind of like what we talked about in Monday's episode. Who are they helping? Are they helping the people that got blipped or the people that stayed?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question.
Because
I do, however...
refugees are the ones that got kicked out of their homes.
Yeah. I do, however, really enjoy this ad. It feels very, real-world political ad.
Yeah.
I like the commitment to realism in that sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
So then we get, what's his name? John Walker. I have him written down in my notes as New Cap, because at this point I couldn't remember his name. But he's
questioning the guy who was helping that was helping the super soldiers.
Yeah.
In the last episode.
Because in the last episode, the super soldiers, led by Carly Morgenthau, they go to this, I don't know exactly where they're...
Warsaw. I think it's in Germany.
Well, because they were in Munich. Because they were stealing.
Might have still been in Munich.
I wasn't sure if they went elsewhere after that.
They usually stay in a town for a couple days.
Yeah. And so John Walker is like interrogating these shelter people to try to figure out where Carly is. And I already didn't like John Walker. I find him irritating.
Yeah.
At this point in time, I couldn't figure out why he was under my skin, but he just like was. And having finished the series now, like, I really hope to never see this man again. He drives me crazy.
You will.
Great.
Demon Thunderbolts.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not out yet.
But it's just a movie. It's not a TV show or anything.
So then we flash to Bucky breaking Zemo out of jail.
Yeah, so this is all hypothetical. Bucky goes to see Zemo in jail, and he's like, so there's more super soldiers now. And so Bucky and Falcon are talking, like, let's just say hypothetically, what if Zemo got out? Bucky was describing everything that Zemo did, like...
See, I really like when movies do this. Another one that I can think of, it's not necessarily a prison break movie.
Didn't Ocean's 11 do the same thing? Like the Oceans?
Well, the scene that I'm thinking of, there's a movie called Now You See Me 2. Now You See Me is a decent movie, but Now You See Me 2 is way better. Daniel Radcliffe is the villain. And they're talking about this whole heist to get this like microchip, and there's one scene where the characters are describing it, and then you see, like, while they're describing it, you see the scene of them acting it out.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool scene, and I like when movies do this.
Which, Bucky and Falcon... Okay, I'm sorry, but this reminds me, I think this might have been like an SNL thing or something from a long time ago, where someone was just saying, like, hypothetically, what if this happened? And then hypothetically, because we were led to believe that Bucky had no idea, and he was just like, what if? What if he did this, and then he did this, and this showed up here?
Yeah, the way that media portrays prison breaks, I can't imagine it's that easy in real life.
Oh, because okay, Baron Zemo should have been in the raft.
Absolutely.
Anyway, he should have been in the raft, not in some German prison.
But
or better yet, he should have been in jail in Wakanda.
Even in real life cases, I'm not just talking movies. It's amazing to me how many inmates have gotten out.
I mean,
Ted Bundy broke out of jail twice, or at least once.
One, he broke out during the court while he was in court, so that doesn't really count as a jailbreak.
Yeah, but he broke out. Okay, maybe I'm getting my wires crossed.
Because I'm just going off of the Zac Efron movie.
Actually, that movie is not
where
horrifically
because he broke out while he was going to change.
I have my own problems with that movie, but it's not like horrifically not accurate.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I don't think he actually ever broke out of jail. He broke out of the court room.
He broke out of holding in the court.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I've heard of a number of breakouts.
There's still that,
and it's like that cannot be that easy unless you have there was a case, I don't know the details, don't quote me on any of it, but there was a case maybe last year, I think, where a female guard fell in love with a male inmate and somehow got him out.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Usually jailbreaks we hear more of in other countries than in the USA.
Yeah.
Just because in the USA there's so much security in jails. Alcatraz has had several breakouts.
Well, it's not an active prison anymore.
But when it was an active prison, a lot of people still broke out. Mythbusters even did an episode on
I feel like Rikers also had breakouts. But Rikers and Alcatraz as well.
Rikers always has breakouts in the Marvel comics.
They're both islands. So it's it's harder, especially in the winter.
Rikers in the I'm just going off of the Spider-Man game. Rikers is still in Marvel as an actual prison. So Rikers is the raft, I think technically.
It's based on Rikers.
Yeah.
But Rikers is because it's an island, but also it's not just the prison that's outlined by barbed wire, it's the entire island is walled off. Yeah. It's not easy to get off that island.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. It's not easy to get off an island anyway.
It's a maximum security prison. It's Rikers.
Yeah, I know. Look at Lost. They couldn't get off the island very easily.
I've literally seen the first episode of Lost. I couldn't do it.
Or any island TV show.
Gilligan's Island?
Yes.
God.
I'm sorry.
You could make an entire podcast off of island-based media.
I bet someone has.
I don't doubt that for a second. That would be a really interesting niche to explore. Get on that, whoever's listening.
That would be really interesting.
Who I thought was Carly's mom. We later figure out she's not her actual mom. She was just a mother figure.
To everyone.
Yeah, she dies. And this is Carly was already kind of over the edge, but this definitely...
This pushed her.
She was kind of already, on her...
This was the catalyst.
Yeah.
Kind of like Tony's catalyst was, to be good was Obadiah
Stane.
Yeah.
And then we go to Madripoor, which I'm unsure if that's a real place.
It's based off of, I think Dubai.
And we keep hearing about the Power Broker.
The Power Broker in the Marvel comics itself, I'm not going to spoil anything, but in the comics itself, the Power Broker is a mysterious person that you don't ever see.
At the point that we are recording this, we have finished the show, but for sake of the narrative of the podcast, we're not going to say it until we get there.
No, because knowing who it is makes a lot more sense.
It puts things into perspective a little bit, but at the same time, it knowing who it is makes you overanalyze certain things, and I feel like keeping that until the reveal, it just makes more sense. We won't talk about the person, the identity, until we get there.
Yeah, so we learned that Zemo is playing himself, Bucky has to play Winter Soldier again, and Sam Wilson has to play someone called Smiling Tiger, who looks like a rapper from the 1990s.
Doesn't he have, dumb sunglasses?
He just has an entire dumb outfit.
I can so see a TikTok boy wearing that, though.
Absolutely, saying this is on fleek or whatever.
On fleek is so 2017. No, it's, what are the kids saying? I sound so old right now. The kids are saying, this outfit is fire. This is a fire fit. I sound like I'm 80.
But people have been saying that's fire for a while now.
I don't know.
Or is it one of those things like the middle part or side part?
I fully embrace that I am chuggy as hell.
Oh my gosh, stop. Stop, oldie.
Literally, anybody over the age of, I would say, 20 doesn't know what chuggy means unless you live on the internet like me.
So they go to this bar, and Sam has to drink this shot of, like, snake venom
Yeah.
and, like, alcohol.
And this is how they kind of prove to these people that they are worthy to meet with this mystery person called Selby.
Yes, where Sam, I don't think really drinks.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me. I mean, he doesn't seem like the type of person that would drink unless it's like he's like a family barbecue and he cracks open a beer or something.
I mean, he does drink. We do see him drink, but not like. But
Not
also,
like shots.
maybe not snake venom.
There's this very tense meeting with this Selby person.
Selby knew info on the super soldiers.
That's right.
She worked with the power broker.
Serum.
The serum.
Like the origin.
Like who
of the
made
serum.
it.
Yeah.
Like who recreated it.
That's right. We still don't know much about
But,
Selby's background or anything like that.
I don't know if you realize this or not, but the new serum is the blood work from Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Editing Sarah here. We both keep saying Eli or Elijah. We meant Isaiah. Sorry.
Did you make that connection at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
You had said something about when we were just watching the show and you had made some kind of off the cuff comment that I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
About that.
every war, I know we talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but every war since Captain America, there's been a super soldier in every war, where Punisher is technically a super serum in some comic arcs. So
Yeah.
there's always not a group, but like a couple people that are super serumed.
Yeah. So while they're having this really tense conversation with Selby, this is when Sam's sister decides to call. And she wants him to Selby wants him to put it on speaker.
Yeah.
So it's like hard for him to cover.
And so he's acting all tough and it's like, well, I'm just going to kill the banker and blah, blah, blah. And then she says, Sam. And someone shoots Selby. Who shoots her?
Yeah, we still don't know who shoots Selby.
Was it the power broker?
It might have been like an enemy of some kind.
But they just happened to do it when Zemo, Falcon, and Bucky were there?
Or maybe a super soldier was on alert or something.
That's the thing. At this point, Falcon hadn't met them yet.
So then we get Sharon. She's back.
Yeah.
Which it's good to see her again. We haven't seen her since what? Civil War?
Mm-hmm.
And she has been kind of laying low. Her like biggest thing is she wants to get pardoned, and she's been selling like expensive goods like art and things of that nature.
Yeah, she's been buying and selling.
Head to a empty shipping container with that has a secret door. It's giving National Treasure. Yeah. The secret door is giving National Treasure.
Yeah.
Like specifically the one scene in the first movie when they go to they unlock the door with like the pipe and stuff. And they
but I mean shipping containers, I mean people make houses out of shipping containers nowadays.
Yeah, but they get to like that empty room and they're like, this is it.
Yeah. And then they go further in and then it's like, whoa.
And we meet a man by the name of Dr. Nagel.
Which, that's who Selby told them to meet.
Yep.
That made the thing.
And we basically learn that he was dusted before he could finish his perfect super serum.
Because he made it without...
And the power broker, after they came back from the blip, the power broker funded it completely.
Yeah.
To let him make the super serum. And then Carly stole it all.
Yeah, all 20.
And then out of the blue, Zemo kills Nagel.
Because Zemo's whole thing is he wants to kill all super soldiers.
Yeah, which
makes sense later.
Yeah. And the whole place is set on fire, so they're like need to get out. Zemo escapes, which I thought this was the last of him, but then we figure out that this was kind of Zemo's whole scheme to like he ends up being the getaway car. I felt like this was a little random.
But
this fight scene is really cool though.
But we finally got to see Baron Zemo's true outfit.
The ski mask looks so dumb.
But
the ski mask and like the fur hood, the balaclava, if you will.
How he looks in the comic.
He looks like somebody's kid dressed up as Thanos for Halloween. Am I wrong?
The Wish Thanos?
It looks like you tell your kid that you can't afford Halloween, so they like scrounge up materials to be Thanos from around the house.
So far, his is one of the closest.
Google Baron Zemo, and then the first picture that pops up on Google, tell me I'm wrong.
His name is Helmut.
We learn that the Flag Smashers stole a bunch of supplies and then blew up a refugee building. And then
which pretty much made them enemies of the GRC.
We have this scene with Zemo and Bucky and Falcon.
Editing Sarah here. So our microphone cut out for a hot second there. Basically, we were saying that the episode ends with Bucky being left Kamoye beads on the ground, and he tries to find who is leaving them. Basically, runs across Io or Ao. I'm not exactly sure how to say her name from the Dora Milaje.
So yeah, that's the end of episode 3. So on to episode 4, which is called "The Whole World Is Watching." We kind of get a flashback to when Bucky was in Wakanda. We flash back to Wakanda, and when Bucky was in Wakanda. This is 6 years prior.
Yeah, so this was
pre-Endgame.
Essentially pre-Infinity. Yeah, like right before Endgame. No, right before. Yeah, I get the two mixed up all the time.
And she's trying to use Bucky's trigger words, and he ends up resisting them.
So he was done being brainwashed. And so she was saying them to if he would react, and he didn't. He stayed chill.
And then we go back to present day, and Io, I think it's Io, actually. I remember her saying, somebody saying it. She's mad that they broke Zemo out, like, really mad.
Yeah.
Which, for good reason, Zemo, like, is responsible for killing the king.
Yes, but also, he did a lot of other things other than just kill a king.
And then we have a conversation that I actually think is quite interesting, and an interesting subplot that Zemo is basically talking about essentially what is the super serum, super soldier to supremacy pipeline. Those are the words that he uses.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because, I mean, Bucky never asked for the serum.
What Zemo is talking about is that people think a lot of the super soldiers, the Flag Smashers included, that they think once they have the super serum, they're above everybody else.
But they feel like Cap never did.
Yeah, but I think Cap is to be fair, Cap also didn't. I guess he did kind of choose.
It was more of he was chosen for it.
Yeah, but the Flag Smashers and the like were the ones that like chose to take it. I do think it's a kind of an interesting conversation about just about what makes
here it is. You have really looked up to Steve, huh? But I realized when I met him, the danger with people like him, America's super soldiers, is that what we put them on pedestals. They become symbols, icons, and then they start to forget about their flaws. From there, cities fly, innocent people die, movements are formed, wars are fought. Do you remember that right? As a young soldier sent to Germany to stop a mad icon, do you want to live in a world full of people like Red Skull? That's the thing, Steve Rogers never forgot who he was.
This is the thing that he's saying, though, is that
people put them on pedestals.
Yes, but the danger of these icons is that, and we could talk about, even in the sense of like our real world, like celebrities or influencers, or, you know, like it's the responsibility of being a public figure in any way is kind of similar to this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think it's an interesting conversation. It was one of those quotes that just kind of perked my ears up a little bit.
It makes you think. But that's the thing. Bucky, I mean, look at Elijah. He was sent to jail. Isaiah, who was sent to jail for 30 years as a cover-up.
Yeah.
No one worshipped him. So, again, Zemo's ideologies are flawed. Kind of like with Civil War.
I thought it was an interesting scene. Interesting conversation.
No, it is an interesting conversation.
I fully understand what you're saying, that Zemo...
But Zemo was also looking at it Cap was not the one that dropped the city. Ultron did. Ultron and Scarlet Witch
Yeah,
essentially
but
did.
this is kind of what I enjoy a little bit about these characters is that not one single one of them is all good or all bad. Like, obviously, like Red Skull, for example, that one's pretty black and white.
Obadiah Stane?
Most of the villains are pretty black and white, but for the most part, the heroes,
That's the thing.
they're not like.
I wouldn't say Whiplash's was all good or all bad.
I'm just saying, and it brings you back to the Sirius Black quote that like there's light and dark in all of us, and that's what I really enjoy about the MCU specifically is that I really like when media does that it doesn't paint every character as black and white, and it's like because we're all human beings, we're all highly flawed.
Not Thanos.
But like that, I mean, that's the whole eternal debate of like the Cap versus Iron Man thing. Is like they both think they're right.
I mean, they both think they're right, but there's only one that is right.
I'm just saying, as clearly we did a poll on our Instagram stories when Civil War came out, when our Civil War episode came out, rather.
It was not very divided. It was literally mainly Cap.
But still,
it was like 70% Cap.
I'm just saying it wasn't 100% in one direction. Was my point.
Yeah, I know.
And I really enjoy that because I've always really liked that Sirius Black quote. And because it's true, like there's light and dark in all of us.
Yeah.
And I think human beings are inherently flawed, and I think it's not productive to have characters that either are like the golden boy or all evil. It's just not productive.
Yeah.
So then we go to basically the gang goes to this refugee camp, and Zemo gives the kids a bag of Turkish Delight, and which made my brain go on a tangent about Narnia. Did anyone read and or watch Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe and think that Turkish Delight would have been so delicious and then it be disgusting in real life?
No, because I've never had Turkish Delight in my life.
So basically, and I explained this to you, it's like a little candy, it's like this chewy candy made out of rose water, and it's like squishy and like coated in cornstarch.
So it's just like a sort of.
They have different flavors too,
So
but
it's sort of like
traditionally
a
it's
slightly liquidy taffy.
like a more firm Jello,
Ew.
but like coated in cornstarch.
Ew.
I would think of it as like a texture of a Sour Patch Kid without the sourness. I remember being very disappointed in it as a kid because like this character is like lured with these Turkish delights, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like you could not lure me with a Turkish delight. They're disgusting.
Yeah.
It's less about the texture and more about the fact that they're flavored with rose water. I don't want to eat a flower, thank you. Anyway, yeah, and he also starts singing Baba Black Sheep for whatever reason.
Isn't Baba Black Sheep like a German?
Did you know that Baba Black Sheep, the alphabet song and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star are all the same tune? I just think it's really weird. It brings me back to the whole like I've got no strings to pull me down moment, and I was a little unsettled by that. Oh, so they go back to the building that they're staying in, and it is gorgeous. The architecture, I just kept thinking to myself,
Which we get a cool fight scene in here.
yeah, I think the stained glass is really cool. I think that the floor tiles are really cool. The wood is beautiful. Like I just think that this building is really freaking cool, and they had to have built that set because like it gets destroyed basically. I really like this building because it has just beautiful architecture. So we go to Carly, and I don't know what her buddy's name is. I cannot remember. Is that the guy that he kills at the end? Anyway, they go.
No, the guy that he kills at the end, I don't know his name. I don't think you actually ever like see him.
But anyway, her and her buddy go to like a gravestone, and that's where they hid the serums.
Yeah.
Basically, John Walker and Sam are talking about how they best want to approach Carly, and Sam just wants to just like attack her John Walker wants to attack her.
And Sam
Wants to actually have a conversation.
No, let me talk to her because I may be able to take her, bring her in.
And this is where I was I was just like, I cannot stand this man.
Yeah.
When I say he gave me the ick before this, there's just something about him in the first couple episodes that I was like, something about him I do not enjoy. And at this point in time, I was like fully anti-John Walker.
Everyone was anti-John Walker the moment he was introduced. That's not like an unpopular opinion or anything. Everyone is.
We go to Danya Madani's memorial.
Yeah, the old lady.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it's pretty average for a funeral. They're in this like giant warehouse.
Yeah.
Which is cool, I guess. I don't really understand why and logistically how they would have brought this woman's body into. Sorry, that's really morbid, but I don't understand the logistics around this, to be completely honest with you. But
it was where they could have private.
Well, I guess Carly and a lot of her friends are wanted, so they're just like saying a lot of kind words and all that stuff.
One people, one world.
One world, one people.
Same thing.
Sam goes to talk to her, and then John just like breaks into the conversation midway to arrest her and ruins everything.
Falcon was actually
getting through.
Yeah, and she's like, "You did this on purpose, blah blah blah," and so she just throws him into John Walker.
And she runs into Zemo. She basically runs off. They're in this giant warehouse with a bunch of stairs and a bunch of random rooms. Yeah. And so she runs off and finds Zemo and he shoots her. And she's shot in the gut.
She goes and he sees the
packet of
super serums. And they fall over and he just starts smashing them.
Except one.
He misses one.
And John finds the vial and pockets it.
Yeah, which brings into another great question. The super serum. I mean, before you knew that he took the serum, how do you think John Walker would have reacted to it? Because when you see him, it doesn't...
Well, because this is the question with the super serum is, or not even a question, it's just a fact, that
it pulls
out the whatever is in you.
I don't want to say best features, but
it makes you more of who you are. Isn't that the phrasing that they use?
It pulls out your true self.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
It pulls out your true self.
So they go, I think they're back in the, I'm just gonna call it the Airbnb because that's it's like home base. I imagine that's like their Airbnb. I don't know that for a fact. There's no beds in this room, but, so basically John barges in and the Dora Milaje aren't having any of it.
No, so John and them are talking. The Milaje come in, we're here to arrest Zemo, and he's like, "You're not going to arrest Zemo because he's part of the United States, blah, blah, blah." And she's not having it, and she just shoves a spear into, the... Io just shoves her spear into the table through the shield's, string. Or,
the strap.
The strap. And he's just stuck there. Mm-hmm. And he's just stuck there. And
At first I thought she stabbed him through the arm, and I was like, what?
That would have been a whole lot better. But we can tell at this point he didn't have the serum in him.
Yeah.
Otherwise he would have been "Ugh."
And then we figure out that Zemo sneaks out.
But this is still a cool fight scene. And I didn't know Bucky's arm could come off.
Yeah, so, because you basically know what happens in the TV shows, but TV show, I cannot talk.
I don't know all the details.
Yeah, and when this happened, when she goes to, essentially what looked like slicing his arm off, Matthew's jaw was on the ground.
Because, it reminds me of this one character in Avatar who could block chi, by pressing different pressure points. And, she would disable people's legs or arms.
We're talking Last Airbender or
Last
the Blue
Airbender.
People?
Avatar The Last Airbender, the Nickelodeon show.
Okay.
There was a character who...
Gotta clarify.
When people say Avatar.
Usually I think of the Blue People, but okay.
There was a character, I think it's Lee May, I think is her name, but she specializes in chi. And think Dead Arm, for example, just by pressing a couple pressure points where you can't airbend or water bend or whatever.
Or if your limb falls asleep or something.
Think like that. But she could block the chi from your bending to that arm without breaking a sweat. She was also a master acrobatic.
Yeah, so she just goes and slices Bucky's arm off.
And he falls.
I didn't think that he was going to be able to get it back on.
It just falls. Not like a solid
His face was
thunk.
like, wait, it can do that?
Yeah, like, he just picks
No, I
it.
meant Bucky's face.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, it makes sense thinking about it, how it could come off since it was put on. It does
There's
make
also her
sense.
spear is ostensibly made from vibranium, so
No, I thought she was just, like, poking it. Yeah, she was just poking it.
it looked like she sliced it.
No, she was poking it.
It looked like she like
Because
sliced it like from the shoulder.
no, she was poking it. Like, deactivating it. Because her spear was in the table. She and Bucky were fighting hand to hand.
So there's a scene in a cafe where John and Lamar are talking. They're basically they're reiterating the whole like you become your true self conversation.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing of note of that whole conversation, essentially. And then Carly calls Sam's sister.
Yeah, and like, hey, you need to get Sam to talk to us by himself.
And she basically is threatening her kids.
Like, we know exactly where you live. We know about the boat. You're going to do what we want, or something bad may happen to you.
And then Sam and Bucky go to meet Carly.
Yeah.
We learn that Sharon is tracking Walker.
Walker shows up. One of the Flag Smashers. No idea which one. No, it's Carly. Carly kills.
I know one of them's named Nico, but I have no idea.
Nico, I think, is the.
Is that the guy who dies?
No, Nico, I
Is he
thought.
the Asian guy?
Maybe. No, I thought Nico was the one that was, like, the bigger dude. That when they were trying. The one that, like, kicked Taurus's, like, face in. I thought that was Nico.
She has two guys that are with her all the time. One of them is named Nico.
Then that's the Asian dude.
There's a white, dark-haired looking dude, and then an Asian dude.
I think it's the Asian dude. Because
Okay.
I think the white dude is the one that gets, like, killed.
The guy with the ponytail.
That's the Asian one, I thought.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter, in all honesty.
Whatever.
If they were meant to be important, they would have names that I could remember.
Yes.
Just saying.
So, we learn that she kills Lamar by, kicks him into a pillar and, like, breaks his back with it.
And this is
Who
when we get confirmation that Walker took the serum, because he
just
loses it.
think, like, roid rage, like, 10 times worse.
And he does a full, like, Game of Thrones style annihilation
Shit.
on this guy.
Like, he's just chasing him through the street, through the building.
Well, I was saying the actual he basically pins this Flag Smasher guy to the ground and starts going at him with the shield, which is a very Game of Thronesian death.
And just beheads him.
I don't know if he fully beheads him. It would have been if it was in Westeros, but it's not.
It was a vibranium shield, so
it could.
It could, honestly.
It was really giving me big Game of Thrones vibes.
And this is when I think the show piqued your interest. Was at this point.
I was like, okay, I understand his rage because like his best friend just died, but like,
I mean, Captain America didn't go.
But you don't go postal over that kind of thing.
Like, he thought he's the one that killed his best friend. That's the thing. He thought he's the one that killed him, not the girl. This is when the show, I think, finally piqued your interest.
Well, because it was just like,
boom.
It wasn't even Lamar's death that was that shocking. It was specifically this, and not only that it was that violent. And I was not expecting this franchise to be that. I mean, it is violent, but like not that gruesome, I should say.
Yeah.
And like in the next episode, he has his shield like covered in blood for a good chunk of it.
No, not for a good chunk of it, just the beginning.
I'm still.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't expecting it to be that gruesome, but also he does it in full view of an entire crowd.
Recording.
Which in today's day and age, you cannot get away with doing anything remotely bad, or else it's going to be on smartphones immediately.
It's going to be on the internet immediately.
Exactly. Do you know how many TikToks I have seen of people acting amok on planes?
Yeah.
And people recording it. Or
yeah.
Anywhere.
It's just, people just lose all, essentially, brain cells when they're out in public.
I don't know what it is about people's incessant need these days to just, I need to film this. Like, what good are you getting other than, like, to send it to the police?
Fame.
They're clout goblins is what they are. I heard somebody else on a podcast say, naming those kinds of people clout goblins, and I can't get it out of my brain.
It's not wrong, though. It's the same as, like, high schoolers, like, filming a fight.
Yeah, no kidding. The best way to describe them is clout goblins. So yeah, that is the end of episode 4. What are your thoughts?
I've liked all the TV shows so far. I've also grown up. I'm not going to say I've grown up watching the TV shows because the MCU ones are new, but I've grown up watching the Netflix ones. I've grown up watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You like the cartoon ones too.
I love the ones that were on Cartoon Network. I really do like
You've been
those.
watching lately the
I was for a while. The Avengers TV show.
Yeah, but then they brought in Captain Marvel and you were kind of out on that one.
But I also love the Spider-Man one. I mean, the Spider-Man one also had Drake Bell in it.
Gross. We don't need to talk about him.
But it was Spider-Man. And you know how much I like Spider-Man. That's honestly might be my next tattoo. Or what are your views so far?
Episode 4 was definitely where I was like, okay, I'm in.
Okay.
Because up until this point, I was like, I really liked WandaVision. I don't think anything is going to beat it, in all honesty.
I think you will like Loki. I really, truly
We watched I fell asleep during the first half
so we're going to restart it.
We watched the first half of the first episode.
I think you will like it because it is very different. Because Loki is the first one that introduces the multiverse.
I think it was just because we're coming straight off of WandaVision. I said this in the last episode, but we're coming straight off of WandaVision, and the tone of Falcon the Winter Soldier could not be more different.
But the tone of Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to be more real world, if that makes sense.
It's grittier.
Because Wanda was, oh, woe is me, I lost my husband. I'm going to recreate everything while having fun while doing it.
WandaVision was much more
sitcom-y.
No. Yes and no. It was, especially towards the end, was much more
like how,
typical Marvel. Typical MCU-y.
I mean, that's how Falcon is.
Yeah, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier is much more gritty in a lot of ways.
But they also had to find themselves because both of them were sidekicks.
And frankly, and we'll get into it in 5 and 6, but there are a lot of things. I mean, we're not going to get too deep into it, but there are a lot of things that really pull in real world issues.
Yeah.
And I think not to a nauseating degree. I think they did a very good job of it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that just kind of makes you
question some stuff.
Yeah, and I because WandaVision was so far removed from all of that.
Yeah.
Because she's in her own pocket reality.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get that as much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
join us on Friday for episodes 5 and 6 and the finale of Falcon Week. I guess Falcon Friday.
So is today Winter Wednesday?
And then
with that logic,
what would Monday's episode be? Melage? They're not even in that episode.
No, Mandapore Monday.
Harley's last name is Morgenthau.
Morgenthau Monday. I don't know.
I really wanted to keep up with the alliteration, but I couldn't do it. So yeah, join us on Friday, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
If you would like to send us any feedback or any messages, you can follow us over on Instagram at thefanclub_podcast or on Twitter at fanclub_podcast. Or you can discuss each episode with us over on our subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/thefanclubpodcast. And make sure that you tune in every Marvel Monday.